Welcome, Glenn. Welcome, Steve. For anyone tuning in, I'm here with the guys there in South Florida, and we're presenting the voter information workshop. Now, this is being done by the Caribbean Democratic Caucus of Florida, and is being supported by the Democratic Haitian Caucus of Florida. Glenn, as president, let me just make sure I'm formal. Let's just be saying Glenn, Mr. President, sir.
Glenn is fine.
Glenn, what do you want voters across Florida to know as we go into this election season?
What we need, Floridians, to people worldwide, since we're on a global vision now, what we need people to know is the seriousness of this election cycle. It is the most important election of our lifetime. And Lord knows, I've been here long enough that that's a long life. So, um, the fact of the matter is, for the first time in history, you have a situation where someone who is laden with indictments and convictions has the ability to run for the highest office in the land and probably the most powerful office in the world. Um, how do we deal with that? We deal with that by making sure that we mobilize as many of our voters as possible. Our voters have a tendency to say that they're not voting because nobody did anything for them, or because what's in it for us, or all the politicians are the same. All of that is really irrelevant at this point in time, a time when you see major Republican figures endorsing Vice President Harris. You saw other well placed individuals coming out. Former President Jimmy Carter told his son before his 100th birthday, when the son asked him if he's trying to get to 100, he said, "No, I'm trying to get to November 5th so that I could vote for Kamala Harris." So that's the strength and the power of the impetus for voting in this election.
Yeah, and I've been making this statement across the board to folks because some people are saying to us, I don't see as much engagement in the Caribbean American community as I thought. And I've been saying to them, because we're everywhere, we're in every circle. You also don't know, you can't necessarily pigeonhole a Caribbean person. You don't know what we necessarily just look like. We fit in Black circles, we fit in Indian circles, we fit in Chinese circles. That's us, right? And we are very active. Like, Glenn, give us an example of some of the other boards that you sit on, just so people have an understanding.
Are you putting me on the spot? Put me on blast. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. I am the chairman of the Greater Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and the Greater Caribbean American Cultural Coalition. I am on the board of the American Society for Public Administration, where I have been president on 3 occasions, and I'm currently, for the last many years, the treasurer.
Yes.
Um, I'll stop there
It-
because the list is too long.
the list is very long, but it's an example that I'm trying to make, that we are in a lot of circles, and in a lot of ways we have made it in a sense. And so we don't have these rallying issues like we might have had a couple of years ago. I would say maybe 10-15 years ago, where we were advocating hard on one or two issues. We're comfortable people, right, Steve? I'm gonna come over to you over there now. I know that you have determined it's time, though. We're comfortable, but it is time to throw in the hat, and we've got to get in the ring. Tell us a little bit about what sparked that for you.
Our comfort level, being Caribbean people, first of all, culturally, through our foods, through our music, through the fact that we think we can make a difference in our own. We're comfortable in our own skin. We're accustomed to having a plethora of ethnicities among us at all times. What I think we need to do right now is to form a more cohesive and visible nucleus as a Caribbean people. I mean, we are certainly blessed with a lot of the passion, and we're hot blooded. And again, it comes through our music and through a number of other things that we do as Caribbean people. But because there are like 32 countries in the Caribbean, and the nuances with among us is so different that I don't think we've really, I don't know how much time we've spent to really pull everybody together. And you touch one, you touch all, sort of thing. So I think we need to just work on that movement so that we can spread messages and demand from our electorate what we want as Caribbean people, as Caribbean Americans.
And I know that one of the reasons we're doing this workshop today is really because you came with a band of folks who are like, activate me. I need to be told what I need to do so that I can help impact this election. And I think
Absolutely.
that folks do not know because they don't understand the surprise that's coming. We will not let our own down. And we have one of our own running.
Mm-hmm.
We will
Mm-hmm.
not let one of our own down. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting those calls internationally about, alrighty, I am outside of the US, I'm a citizen. How do I vote? So
Yeah.
I'm already getting that franticness of let me in. I need to be a part of this. We need to make this happen. Um, we're not even taking it for granted, right? Glenn, tell us a little bit of some of the things that you have in store as president of the caucus for us to do.
Well, one of the things we need to do is to mobilize folks to be able to do phone banking
All right.
because we need to reach out to folks. And given the short window of time, the more people we have making calls is the more people we will reach. Florida has 6 regions where there are high concentration of Caribbean folks. Duval County, Hillsborough County, Orange County, Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Miami-Dade County. And for years, we have played a significant part in most elections. If you remember 2000 with the Gore Bush eh, for the fiasco,
Mhm.
we were very much an active part of that and an active reason why Gore was able to be as competitive as he was. So we need to get back to that place. And the only way we're going to do that is mobilizing. With
Mhm.
respect to the visibility in Florida, as far as the campaign and the party is concerned, um, although I'm angry about it that we're not seeing the kind of visibility we should see. But then that has to be tempered with the fact that you know they have to concentrate on the blue wall and those states that are critical to the electoral college. And so while we may want her to come to us, it may not be possible for her to come to us.
Mhm.
But the designations that she has, the surrogates that she has globally, are adequate. No, they're more than adequate. They're very capable. For
Mhm.
example, her brother-in-law, Tim, was
Tony
here. Tony, Tony
West, right?
Lewis, right? Tony Lewis. Tony was in South Florida last week. We were part of that, and he was very competent in delivering the messages, the reasons why, and also explaining that because of the importance of those 6 or 7 states, they may be the ones that's drawing all the blood right now, sucking all the blood. And they will do the best that they can to get to us and to make sure that as I explained to them, our people like are visual.
Mhm.
We need the yard signs. We need the local radio. All right. Problem with that and us though is that we've done that so many times over the years. And counting from 2000 to now is what, 24 years?
Hmm.
What the saving grace here for that situation is that it's the most critical election of our lifetime, and we cannot afford to have the monster in office once again.
Yes. And you know, it's on two parts in my opinion. It's the most critical election of our time. And so it's even overshadowing the fact that we actually have some joy because we have a candidate of Caribbean American heritage that's actually going to more than likely be the president of the United States.
No, not more than likely will be the president.
Listen, Glenn, I am not going to say to our community that is a certain thing because I do not want them to rest on their laurels. Right now, what you're saying to me is this: Florida is not in play. They cannot count on Florida as part of the Electoral College.
I
Um,
wouldn't say that though.
I know that. And that's exactly the point I'm coming to. We know that Florida could be in play
Yeah.
because we know that we've been told if the English speaking Caribbean comes out in enough numbers to vote, it could swing an election in Florida.
And the Latin community has also come on board. So if
One,
you have the Haitian community, the Latin community, and the English speaking Caribbean,
mhm.
then Florida plays, not in play but
Florida
plays.
plays in a very real way. What I'm hearing though is we have to save ourselves. And I feel like we have come, it goes back to my comfort level that I was talking about. And Steve, you could weigh in on this because you have been across this state from a different point of view. You have been a part of many gatherings, galas. You've seen that we have the money to save ourselves, and we certainly have the people to save ourselves, don't we? Right?
Yes, we absolutely do. And officially, unofficially, the organizations, etc. And I think you know, in a former life, I was in charge of a Caribbean region for a very for a
Mhm.
worldwide company, English, Spanish, French, and Dutch. I was a director and sales and did a lot of sales and contractual arrangements over there. And and therefore my contact with the Caribbean region is still very, very, very impressive, if I may say so. And so it and with the galas, the different galas, I've been invited, as I have said, in another forum to even do the national anthems for six different countries.
Mhm.
So I end up, playing a part, both in the Caribbean life, all across the Caribbean, really.
Mhm.
I haven't done the national anthem for any francophone Caribbean country as yet,
As
but
yet.
I'm working on it as yet. But it comes back to the point that, I mean, this afternoon, this very afternoon, I'll be singing for a gala put on by the Guyanese, and I'm yet to be invited to do one for Trinidad. So I leave that up to you and Glenn. But but but
Okay.
but, but I'm
I'm
just saying.
Guyanese. We got a Guyanese, Jamaican, and a Trinidadian here. We could be doing major things.
Exactly, exactly. But my dream is to see us um, keep that bond, keep that coalition going between here and for the future.
Yeah. And really, again, we have to save ourselves. And so, Glenn, this brings us to the fact that everything needs money. I see you guys are a little distracted here, so I'm gonna just keep going. I know that
No, go
everything
ahead.
all that. Okay, yeah. We need money to have some of these radio stations and fully in place. So we need to make an appeal also to anyone listening here: time, talent, treasure. Those are the three things, right? Glenn, you've got folks who are giving their time. You got a wealth of volunteers that have joined up. Now we need the folks who don't have the time to invest, but they got the treasure and they want to throw that in to say, let's amplify this. So we're gonna make that ask right now. We need Caribbean Americans, we need you to step up. It's not coming from the outside. We have to save ourselves. Yeah. So we're asking you guys to the caucus. $50, $40. I've thought $1 gets a postcard sent, right? We know mailers could go out. There's things we can do with $20. What I want to make this appeal now is to say, I know that a lot of folks have donated at the national level, but if we want to save Florida for ourselves, we've got to have folks donate now to the people in Florida who could actually help us. So time, talent, treasure. That's it. Talent, if you've got something that you can use. So if you're hearing us here, you have a radio station, talk to us, donate, donate some time on that. Have these guys as guests. That's what I do. I am here to leverage our resources. We've got the ability to put it in print. We've got the ability to put it online. But there's more talent. Like the restaurant you guys are in, they're donating space. People are ready to do what it costs. And is there anything else that I'm missing that you think we can ask for?
No, not really. I mean, those are the three most important things, time, talent, and money.
Yeah.
Um, I think we should get to some of the questions that you were asking about how do someone abroad vote? Well,
Vote.
And
abroad,
if I may, we as you said, as you alluded to earlier on, Guenet, we do have quite a number of passionate, excited people who are ready to volunteer. Just in terms of direction, in terms of where the volunteering is needed, where the action and activity is needed. So I really look forward to this section whereby people actually do not know what's happening sometimes. Um, and so I welcome Glenn's leadership in terms of some training and answering some questions.
All right, Glenn, over to you now. For my question, because I have a bunch of folks waiting for this, so I'm going to take that first question on. We have folks in the Caribbean and probably in other parts of the world who are asking, how do they as citizens get to vote? You help us with that.
okay. If you go online and you get your respective supervisor of elections, depending on the state of where you're from,
Mm-hmm.
the website. For Broward, it's www.browardvotes.org
Okay.
or www.browardsoe.com. .org, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They will, and just search vote by mail, and it can be done online.
Okay.
Throughout the country, it could be done online.
Okay.
All right. So once there's vote by mail, you call your respective Broward SOE. And Google is the new dominant feature in our lives. They
Mhm.
give us all the information we need as soon as we need it. So it's very easy to find. You fill it out and you send it in. You send it in online.
Okay.
Then once you get your ballot and you fill it out and mail it back, you have the ability to track that ballot.
Mm-hmm.
After a few days, you can go online and track to make sure that your ballot has been received. All right. The last day to submit to mail a ballot would be October 24th. And that's because of the gift from the previous administration that has left us with a postal service that no longer can guarantee delivering the mail everywhere on
Okay.
time.
On time. So we've got to get it in time,
Yes.
early enough that it counts.
Okay.
All right.
Now, probably the most important thing that remains as far as that area is concerned is registering for those who have not yet registered to vote. Um, Yesterday, I found out that Supervisor of Elections office has been receiving vote by mail requests only to find out that the folks are not registered. So that's a caveat now. For anybody wanting to vote by mail, please verify your registration so that if you are not registered, you can register by Monday because the 7th is the last day to register for voting in this election.
So that's essentially what this weekend is all about. I
Yeah.
know that it was very important for us to be active today. And that is for all the procrastinators out there who are hearing. If you if you like to put yourself under pressure, this is the ultimate pressure. This is the very last chance you get to register.
Now,
Of
now
course.
early voting begins on October 21st.
Okay.
Now, we are here in Broward County, but for Broward and Palm Beach and everywhere else, October 21st to November 3rd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. So if you know you can't get time off from your job,
Mhm.
you have Saturday and Sunday, all right, or any day during the week, you can go before you go to work because it's open at 7, or you can go after you go to work
Mhm.
because it closes at 7. And most people work 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. So
I
there's
want to
time
jump in
for,
on that one just because it I want to underscore the importance of the early voting. Um, People need to understand that in that early voting period, you can vote any location within your county.
yeah.
And so it's a lot easier in a lot of ways for you to vote near to where you work, near to where you worship, near to where you go for your coffee. So sometimes people wait until election day and they are a little confused as to exactly where is my voting location. Early voting makes it very easy for you to vote in the simplest place nearest to wherever you congregate, folks.
And in addition to that, if you find that you have somehow held on to your ballot too long, during early voting, you can drop your ballot at any of the locations and it will be received. If you don't get it in by that Sunday the 3rd, you have to drop it at the precinct where you are normally going to vote. All right, and that's critically important.
All right. So let me recap this. I've heard you guys say a lot, Glenn. Go for vote by mail. All right. Now, I would expect if somebody is a little confused, if they are not sure, because sometimes they get in that ballot box, and the judges are the most confused because you don't know half of the judges, you don't understand those amendments. So if you feel overwhelmed, definitely ask for your vote by mail ballot. You can sit down in front of your computer, you can research it, you can call family, you can call friends, get some answers, and then you can walk it in during early voting.
Be- Better yet, gonna on each of the Supervisor of Elections websites,
Mhm,
you can get a sample ballot. Okay,
mhm,
so you get the sample ballot, and that will kind of guide you as to what is happening and where. In some cases, there are some stuff out there, and we will post most of the information that we're giving you now. We will post it on our website and
mhm.
on Facebook and on whatever medium we feel that it will reach you, because it is important that you vote down ballot because we could succeed in having our president.
Mhm.
And now, you get there, and then she does not have a Senate that's capable of going, or a house.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And in many respects, the house is probably much more important because they're the one that control the purse strings for everybody.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So that is important. Now, with respect to Florida and the amendments, okay, you have six amendments.
Mm-hmm.
You have from Florida, you have the First Amendment deals with partisan election of members of district school boards, aka it's called Partisan School Board Member Amendment.
Uh-huh.
And basically, what that is proposing that the state constitution to require members of a district school board to be elected in a partisan election rather than a non-partisan election. Or, now the problem with that is this: in a county like Broward County, where we're predominantly Democratic, it's almost impossible for someone to win an election to the school board who is not Democratic. All
Mm-hmm.
right. But we have to be careful with that though, because Florida is it's a very tricky thing, particularly over the past few years, because a lot of people have changed from Democrat to no party affiliation, from Republican to no party affiliation. So there are many. We have 500 and some odd thousand Democrats, 200 and some Republicans, but we have about 500 no party affiliation.
In Broward. Okay.
So if you take all of that into consideration, you know that everybody, we have to reach everybody, we have to convince everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a Republican, I'm not going to talk to him. No, talk to him. Because, you know, I believe, and this is my belief, that there's a silent majority in this country who are not speaking at all about this. But
Mm-hmm.
when they get into that box, they will do the right thing
Yeah.
because it's just that. Now, amendment number 2 deals with the right to fish and hunt. Um, they're asking to preserve forever fishing and hunting. Uh, I like to fish. I am not hunting anything in this country because I may become hunted. And so, people can decide on their own what they want to do with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the most important, among the most important, not the most, but among the most important is Amendment 3, which is adult personal use of marijuana, or as we call it, the recreational marijuana amendment for adults 21 years and older.
Mm-hmm.
I have long advocated that the legalization of marijuana will cure many ills. It will it will get rid of the crime associated with the possession and the unjust incarceration of mostly people who look like you and me
Yeah.
for possession of just sometimes a zut as they call it. So
Mm.
you know, or spliff. A spliff. A spliff is a big one. Um, yeah, I never did it, but I know about it.
And believe it or not, people are actually being arrested for possession of medical marijuana, because if you're traveling with medical marijuana in your car or so outside of your home, that actually right now is getting young people arrested even more so than having a smaller amount of marijuana. So our community needs this for sure, because
You know,
a mhm,
there's another side of this, that the argument that someone they're putting up to say no is that you're going to give very few people the opportunity to have licenses or to deal with the legal distribution of marijuana. But I think the good that comes from legalizing outweighs those negatives that people are advocating.
yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Now, the one that I think is going to
So we're
really,
still vote yes on Amendment 3.
I would vote yes on amendment.
And we here's the thing, we have to tell them that, right? So that, because again, when they get in that box, it's still a little confusing. So yes on 3. Mhm.
Yes on that. Yes. Everybody should vote yes on the next one, which is the right of a woman to make whatever choices she has to make about her body. It
Yes.
is the abortion amendment. All right. Amendment to limit government interference with abortion.
Mhm.
All right. I don't think there's enough going on. I don't think we need to elaborate on that. It's the right of a woman to choose what happens to her body.
So
Period.
that 4
May, may,
yes on 4.
Yeah.
Steve, go ahead.
may I interrupt? The As a Caribbean man, what I try to do is to find out where and whenever there's a disconnect in terms of the messaging.
Mhm.
And certainly some of the misrepresentation, some of the lies that have been told by some, is that the Democratic Party is interested in aborting 9-month-old fetuses, or I've even heard I've even heard the nominee talk about
You know,
aborting after the baby is born, which is so ridiculous. But I'm just telling you the length at
Mhm.
which they go, and I do not hear the Democratic Party saying, um, talking about enough that we're not talking about those 9 months. We're not talking about all of that. That is murder, and we are not proponents of that. What the matter of healthcare happens to do, for the most part, with women who are experiencing difficulties with their own lives when they have a fetus inside of them that's either dead or non-viable. But does the common man know what non-viable means? I don't think we are breaking it down enough for everybody to understand that non-viable mean that the baby won't come out normal and it's
Yeah.
gonna kill the mother anyway. I
Mhm.
think that our responsibility has to be to break things down in very, very, well, simple language. You
You're
know
you're
what?
right on that, Steve, because I think what I saw even in some of the debates is that the Democratic candidate would look over aghast, like, who would ever believe what you're saying? But you're right. People don't, like, we hear things and think they understand that that is not true.
Exactly. We assume that people know what we know,
Yes.
and that is our mistake.
Very
It happens also whenever they talk about insulin being capped at $35. A lot of people don't understand what capped means. And so, in terms of our messaging, I think we really, really need to pay attention to breaking things down in the most diminutive terms so that the man on the street understands.
true.
Not everybody understands. All
No,
right.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that. And so, you know, sorry, you
Yes.
guys are trying to get them a little quieter over there.
Yeah. No, no, we're fine. We just
Oh,
had some loud music around us a while ago. But
okay.
but 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 the thing about it is that even in Amendment 3, you know, are we giving in to laws that preceded the innovation, the medical and pharmaceutical innovation of marijuana products that save people's lives? There are other people who stick to a particular line of pharmaceutical preparations,
Hmm.
right? And so they don't use this. We in the Caribbean, we have scientific research councils, and
Hmm.
we have developed a lot of life-saving medication that come out of the use of marijuana. So it is imperative. It's a life and death situation in some cases, in terms of Amendment 3. So, yes, vote of Amendment 3 because it saves lives. Same
Very
thing
true.
about Amendment 4. We're not abusing the abortion law to kill people. No, don't do that. Don't say that.
Mhm.
I've heard teachers in Christian schools telling their children that, their students that. It is
Okay.
so ridiculous, but we need to amplify the fact that there are women who have difficult pregnancies and who need to have, if okay, non-viable means that the baby will not be born normal, right?
Yes.
Or severely
Mhm.
deformed. Okay,
Yes.
I mean, whatever the medical term is, I'm speaking as a layman.
Hmm.
I'm going to start my medical degree tomorrow. But but the whole thing about a non-viable pregnancy means that apart from the baby won't come out anywhere near normal, it may kill the mother.
And the good point that you're making there is this: it's not that a woman gets that right to choose at 8, 9 months that they can have that
Yeah,
abortion
you don't do
if
that,
the
right?
baby is non-viable. It's the doctor, the medical professionals feeling like this is the right decision to save the life of the mother. That is why in a lot of cases they will make those decisions. And so
Yeah,
we really have to educate folks, as you're saying, that it's giving the healthcare professionals the opportunity to do their job in the right manner, because
yeah,
outside of that it is leaving them to say, okay, I cannot touch you to help save your life, even though I know this is what, lady, this is going to save your life. I
exactly.
we've had a candidate, Stanley Campbell, who actually talked about his wife being in that exact position with
Hmm.
and them having to take one to save the life of the other twin and the life of the mother. That was an exact example of what you're talking about, and it was late in her pregnancy.
Yes,
Without being
and a
able
lot
to
of time.
catch, he would have died, and he would not have had a 37-year-old son at this point.
And a
Okay.
lot of time is of the essence.
Yes,
A lot of time you and how I gather it works now, based on some of the bans, is that you have to wait until the mother is this close to death.
yes,
Really?
yeah.
For what? No,
The medical professionals know what they're doing.
of
Let's
course.
give them the ability to do what they're doing. So yes, on
So our
four
messaging has to be
has to
to
be right.
break things down and to explain it and to say yes. This is why we say yes on 4 and yes on 3.
Okay.
I think you're bringing it to a good point. I know, Glenn, we got to come back to you, but we're gonna have to get some talent, some of our doctors, some of our healthcare people in a room, Steve, to talk about Amendment 3 and Amendment 4. That's definitely something we'll have to work on. Glenn, what else do we need to
Yeah,
do?
well, Amendment 5, the homestead exemption amendment, and we should we should leave that up to folks. However, it is important to know that leaving it to be adjusted by the cost of living is not going to work in the interest of some folks, of many folks, particularly many folks like us. All right, so I would recommend no on that.
Okay.
Um, but people can do additional homework and make their own decisions. Amendment 6 is the amendment to repeal the public financing requirement, aka they're calling it the Cleaner Elections Amendment. Well, that's a lot of hogwash
Hmm.
because Citizens United was the one that messed up campaign financing because it allowed a lot of silent dark money to come into to campaigning and election and turning the tide on a lot of things. So on that one, giving the Florida legislature any more power than I would suggest no on that one also. We're
Okay.
running out of time now, so I think we need to begin to wrap up. Is there anything else that anyone needs clarification on, Steve? Guenet?
I think there are a lot of questions out there for folks in terms of, okay, you've spoken about early voting, and again, early voting starts on Monday, October 21st, and from Monday, October 21st to Sunday, November 3rd, you can vote anywhere in your county. and you're encouraged to vote early. However, if you choose to, and you have great hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But if you choose to vote on election day, you're restricted in terms of one location where with your precinct. So we encourage you to go out and vote early. The question is, do we have a number that is called if we have any difficulty in voting?
Certainly, in Broward County, you can call the Supervisor of Elections office, and I may regret this, but you can also call me at my number 754-224-8150.
Glenn, we know you're committed this election season to making sure these folks get in and vote.
Oh yeah, if we
Yes.
have to carry them in a wheelbarrow to the polling stations, we're gonna have to do that because they must vote.
And and if I may have another question, we have the the polling stations in Broward County, but I do know that there must be people outside of Broward that are listening to us and watching us now. Is there a more general website, Glenn, for like Tampa, Orlando?
They no, they we have Broward, we have Dade, we have Palm Beach, but and even this does not. We don't have Dade at hand. But again, the most critical place to find this out is at your BSO in Miami-Dade. You go to miamidade.gov/elections, and then you search for early voting sites. In Palm Beach, uh, you go to the Palm Beach SOE and you do the same thing there. And in Broward, we have, let's see, three, six, nine, yeah, 18 locations in Broward County. Um, the Broward College, Adams campus, Carver Ranches Library, Dania Beach Library, Davie Cooper City branch, Emmylou, Emmylou Olson Civic Center in Pompano, Fort Lauderdale, Branch Library, Hallandale Beach Cultural, um, Handy Inc., 1717 North Andrews, Hillsboro
So
Community Center. So
nearly every
go to the
community
website.
center or library in your area generally becomes a polling station for early
Yes,
voting.
yes.
And we will drop in a link. There's a site, I think I will vote. I'm not sure, but there's a site that we can go to check your polling station. We will drop that as a link under this video. But I do want to remind people that um, if you go to your county's supervisor of election, that's where you're gonna find it. So if at the very least you just Google your county's name and supervisor of election, you'll find it. And in addition, you do get your ballot that Glenn is also talking about, your sample ballot. You do get that in the mail as well. So, guys, look out for your mail. It's not as if these folks don't try. Look out for your mail and help your friends and help your family with going through that sample ballot for anyone that feels uncomfortable with it. Glenn gave his number. Where this video is going to be posted, you'll see more links for more of these kind of events, so you can join us and ask questions as well, and text us and ask questions as well. All right, Glenn, anything else?
Yes, before we close, I would like to publicly give hearty thanks to Praveen Singh and the Singh family. We're broadcasting out of Singh's Roti Delight in
And the
Lauderdale,
roti is good. Add some doubles, some Trinidadian
and you
doubles.
get
It's
anything from
excellent. Coming from a
doubles,
Jamaican.
roti. Okay, so and look out for further notice because we are planning to do the victory celebration on November 5th, right here at Singh's Roti
Mhm.
Delight.
I love it. Now, for those of us who are going to be in Miami next week, because it's Miami Carnival, we have to stop in because after Juve, we could actually walk down to Sings, right? It's right there on State Road 7.
It's a little more than a walk down because they have Joy and La Luz down there, but the better one is Sings up
It
here where
Sings, yes, a little
you won't
further
have to
down.
About
be
a mile up.
fighting.
A mile. All
You
right.
won't have to be fighting with people to get into to or make your orders.
Got
So
it. So we come in from the other side of State Road 7, not from by the side with the stadium,
that's
and we'll
correct.
be able to enjoy our time at Sings. We'll meet over there next week for sure.
All right. So thank you very much for the time, and until next time.
Thank you guys, and thanks to Sings again for being a host location. I've seen you guys at many events there, so I know they're definitely a community supporter. Steve, thank you for making the time, and thank you for galvanizing all those wonderful volunteers and people of interest down there who are ready to get involved in the campaign this season.
Great to see you, Guenet. Thank you so much. Thank you, Glenn.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks, Mr. President.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Remember, a lie once started, the truth never catches up to it. So we've got a long road to travel, but we're gonna fight it to the end.
That gives us a good point to end on. The fact is that there are lots of lies being told by the Republicans, and I would want to say this to people: even if you're not excited about the fact that number one, there's a Caribbean person who is accomplished, educated. We're not asking you to vote for Kamala Harris because she's just Caribbean. She is educated, accomplished, ready for the role. So we're excited about that. We have a unique opportunity to talk about what it means to be Caribbean here. We have a unique opportunity to talk about it's a Douglas girl who's going up here for president of the United States, which for us means Indian and Black. And so it's a chance for us to educate our community on those mixtures. We see that a lot in the Caribbean. So you could be Indian, you could be Black. Douglas right here. So we want to just make sure people are educated. But in addition, there are so many lies about immigrants. There are lies about our Haitian brothers and sisters. And even if you're not excited because of that, you should actually be voting because you're offended because of what they're saying about immigrants
Yes.
to this country.
All right. Thank you very much, Guenet, and God
Thank
bless.
Thank you.